Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Sisterhood of Women of the Paranormal. And my guest is Tiffany Gager. And Tiffany, are you there?
I am here. Thank you so much for having me.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Now, Tiff, you started this new radio network. Can you tell us a little about it?
Our new radio network, yes, it's called DTM Wicked Radio. It is a production of DTM Wicked Productions, LLC. We wanted to, there's a lot of radio stations out there, and they're all really great. We come through the genre of the paranormal, but we wanted to kind of broaden, just not just do paranormal, but kind of broaden our outlook, like paranormal and music and cooking and fashion and comedy, and we have just a gambit of fantastic shows that people can choose from that maybe have all of those tastes or one of those tastes or a few of those tastes, that they can listen in and enjoy a really awesome show with some really great ghosts. Like we have The Dorkening, Kevin Crook and his friend Leo Pond. They're going to do some comedic skits like Kids in the Hall type things. That's going to be awesome. We also have another comedian on called, his name is John Harrington. His show is called Rotten Minds. He's going to be bringing on some of his comedian friends to do some fun things, make you laugh. We have Cement House and Leighton Bordeaux from the X Project. They're going to come on and spin some music on Friday nights that people can get loose to and hang out to until sometimes people go out on Fridays. We're going to have The Rock Factory with Reverend Brother Gordy on Saturday, and he's going to spin some independent bands. They're going to come on and talk with him, and they're going to spin some of his music. We've got the Sisterhood of the Women of the Paranormal. We've got the matchups. We've got Jen Mitchell. She's going to have a whole slew of different topics. You have our show, The Wicked Edge, that actually will be switching to Wednesdays at 8 o'clock. And Wicked Edge is going to have, actors, paranormal investigators, celebrities, local celebrities, and everybody, from music to paranormal to science to everything. Who else am I forgetting? Russ's show, Phase 2, is on tonight at 9 o'clock. He actually has a co-host. Her name is Reedy Davies. They're going to have a wonderful show every Tuesday night from 9 to 11. Tonight, their guests are Betty Reed and Jonathan Hodges from Deep South Paranormal on Sci-Fi. Eric's Corner is on Mondays. We have Everything Paranormal with New England Ghost on Thursdays. We have Paranormal Mojo. That's also going to air on Mondays. I feel like I might be forgetting people. Oh, we're also going to be airing John Tobin's Keeping the Spirits Alive, rerun of his show on Wednesdays. We also have Let's Talk Ghosts on Sundays, and we're actually going to be bringing on a teen perspective. We're going to keep that kind of hush-hush. I can't reveal too many details, but we're going to be bringing on a teen perspective, so that's going to be a lot of fun and really cool for the younger generation.
Cool. That sounds awesome. Now, we have some sponsors. We want to thank our sponsors. We have Science Magazine, page 21. You can come look at them. Right? We have Rolling Hills Asylum. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think Science did a complete page on DTM Wicked Radio Network. On page 21, there's a whole layout explaining who we are, what we do, and where you can find it.
Oh, awesome. And we also have, if anyone hasn't been there, we have Rolling Hills Asylum in Western New York. And the owner of that, Sharon, is just amazing, and the place is just amazing. You and I both investigated that.
Oh, it's awesome. It's Stephanie. It's phenomenal.
Yep. and you want to talk about creepy places, you go there in the dark and you see a wheelchair move by itself. Now that's creepy.
Well, what scared me is I actually love the morgue, and what scared me the most was we were down in the morgue, and I opened up one of the freezers to walk in there, and I didn't realize she had a mannequin in there, and that scared the ever-living Jesus out of me.
When I was my old team, they were down in the chapel and they got scratched down there. So it's definitely a spooky place to come and check it out. And then we have the historical Fort William Henry Conference and Resort Center up in Lake George. And I actually stayed there and had some experiences. I wasn't a paranormal investigator at the time, but I did have some experiences in the hotel. So, and they do a reenactment at the fort, and it's incredible.
Yeah, we were there for John Tobin's event, Parahistory Con, preserving the haunts, and it was phenomenal. It was beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's fresh air. It's gorgeous. But also, like, you would not walk out of it disappointed if you're looking to have a paranormal experience. Like, you can feel the energy, and you feel like you're never alone. Even in your empty room, I never felt like I was alone. And Denny even had an experience there. He felt somebody tug on his hand while he was sleeping. So that was pretty interesting.
Yeah. We had our alarm went off in the middle of the night. That was kind of weird, and I saw sort of like a shadow figure in my room, so that was kind of weird.
Oh my God, that is weird.
Yeah. So, and Lake George is beautiful. It's just a beautiful place. So, you guys should check that out. All right,
Absolutely.
now, you also are co-founder of a team. Do you want to talk about your team a little?
Yeah, we're co-founders of DTM Paranormal Investigations Agency. Like everybody else, John Tobin said hi to me, by the way. He's on chat. He said hi, Tammy.
What?
John Tobin said hi, Tammy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Cool. Is he in the chat room?
He is in the chat room.
Tell him I said hi back.
He can hear you.
Hi, John.
DTM Paranormal Investigations Agency, yeah, we started it almost 2 years ago, actually. And, of course, we started to help people who feel that they may have something in their home. But, even though it's really interesting with our industry, it's really accepted in one hand and yet still has this awful stigma attached to it in the other. So as much as it is accepted, it's also extremely taboo. And so there's some people who get caught in that feel like they may have something in their home but don't know who to turn to. And, so we were out there to help people like many other people. We're professional. We're courteous. We do extensive research, not only on the property, but on the client for a private residence as well. We do psychiatric evaluations before we even consider investigating a place, because we take into account the mental well-being of the client, the mental well-being of the people who live within the residence, and if it would be safe for us to proceed mentally for them. We also take into consideration if it would be safe for our investigators to go in there, because you're in a dark place. Sometimes the client insists on being there during the investigation. And I want to make sure while it's dark, they're not going to, a screw is going to come loose and they're going to decide to snap and hurt one of my team members. So, we do a lot of extensive, evaluating and psychological studying and research on the property and on the clients before we even consider going into a private residence to investigate.
Awesome. So, Tiff, what is the hardest thing you find about running a team and a radio network?
launching a team and a radio network?
Yep, running it. What's the hardest thing?
Oh, the hardest thing. Well, sometimes different personalities clash. And also it's just getting everybody organized and on the same page. Sometimes it can be a little hard to, get everybody the information at the same time, because you set deadlines for yourself, and, we understand things come up in life. Things happen, and, people forget things, and we understand that. I do that myself. Like, if I've had a rough day, the last thing I remember is that, oh, crap, I've got to send this information to that person. But that's, and just organization, getting everything done on time, making sure everything looks really good and professional. That's one of the hardest things, especially when you're trying to, you want people to be really drawn in. You want it to be cool and catchy and have people go, wow, that logo looks awesome. That's a network I want to look at and see if there's a show I want to listen to. But at the same time, you want to be really professional and have people go, that's really well done. So it's a lot. It's hard, but yeah, at the same token, I have to give credit to where credit's due. We've had a fantastic team. I mean, Jen Mitchell came on board, and then Nate Beckwith. Jen Mitchell is the graphic designer. Nate Beckwith is the web designer and IT specialist. Both of them, have busted their butts to help make the station run and look great, and they're doing a phenomenal job. Tracy, who's our publicist and marketing director, amazing. Like, she is, marketing us like it's nobody's business. She makes sure if something doesn't seem right, that she takes care of it to protect, the integrity of the production company, the network, and us. So, I mean, we've had such a phenomenal team. And then we had a great host on. We have you. We have Eric. We have Jason Stanton from Sepia. We have Chris and Lori. We have, John and Chip, who are gracious enough to let us, play their show on our network. It's classics, but once in a while they're going to do live specials. I mean, you have Russ and Renee and Gordon and Let's Talk Ghosts and everybody from New England Ghosts and Jodie Foster and so many wonderful, wonderful people. If I'm forgetting anybody, forgive me, and I'm sorry, and I love each and every one of you. It's just wonderful. So it's hard, but you know what? It's worth it. We anticipate bumps in the road. There's always going to be bumps in the road, but we don't think there isn't anything we can't overcome if we just persevere and work hard. And, again, we've had such a wonderful thing. Even Don Tobin has been such a huge supporter of us, and that's so wonderful when you turn to your friends and instead of getting negativity, you get positivity, like, hey, you can totally do this. It's awesome. So that made it a whole lot easier.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
if you're going to say what's hard about getting a team together, it's finding people who are honest, professional, ethical, and willing to actually do what's expected of them.
Right. I think, yes, putting together a team, a paranormal team, is one of the hardest things to do because you're taking everyone's time in consideration. Some people can go on investigations one day and not the other day.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the hardest things to do.
Absolutely. It's just, starting a team and trying to get people as dedicated as you are. And granted, we don't pay them because we're nonprofit. We don't expect to get paid. We don't want to get paid. It's something we're doing out of the kindness of our hearts. And also, and please understand, this is not a diss to anybody who's on TV. Everybody is like, oh, I want to be a ghost hunter. I want to be like, I want to be like Ghost Adventures. The thing is they don't understand that those people are there for days on end. You only see bits and pieces. And they're doing a lot of commercial places. For a commercial place, you don't do a psychiatric evaluation. You don't, you might do research on the building or on the location, but you don't do the extensive psychological research on your clientele as you would for private residents. And so people don't understand that you're sitting there in the dark for hours, technically talking to air. And once in a while, if you're really lucky, they try to communicate with you physically by giving you a touch, or you actually do hear something in your ear. But sometimes it's few and far between, and it's not like you see on TV. That's edited. And when you explain that to somebody, like I had my DTM sweatshirt on in Walmart, and I love Walmart. It was a DTM sweatshirt. I had my jeans on, no pajama bottoms. You know, I don't, only late at night do I do the pajama thing at Walmart. But I had my DTM sweatshirt on, and she goes, oh, my gosh, paranormal investigations. Are you a ghost hunter? I'm like, I'm an investigator, yes. And she's like, oh, I always want to join a team. Are you looking for members? I'm like, oh, we're always looking for members. She's like, oh, what do I have to do? I'm like, well, there's an application process, there's a background check, and then we have a contract. And I said, it's not like you see on TV. It's completely different. And I went into detail. And by the end of the conversation, she's like, oh, well, I'm really busy anyway. So, you know, thanks for sharing. I'm like, yep, okay, nice to meet you.
And it's not like evidence review. They only show a short period of evidence.
You're breaking up a little bit.
Evidence review is like 5 hours plus. You have 8 hours of data you have to get through. You know, it's tedious. And you know how many dust orbs can I look at? You know.
And it is, and that people don't understand, like, and it's just the investigation part it's not just the investigation part that's tedious, it's the evidence review or the, you know, case review that you have to do.
Right.
And that can be hours and pound hours because you have so many recorders going, you've taken so many pictures with so many cameras, you got a DIVR system. I mean, people don't understand how, like, hard work it is. It's not just like you go into a building, you know, oh my God, holy crap, come get me or whatever. You know, it's a lot of sitting and talking, and then sometimes, you know, you got to talk to them like you and I are talking. You just can't go in there and go, hello, is there a ghost here? You know, it's hilarious.
Right.
Sometimes it's just people don't understand. Their perception is completely skewed.
If you hear dogs in the background, they're my dogs. I apologize. They see a rabbit outside or something. So I apologize. Yeah, and you know it's not glamorous. You're crawling through spider webs and asbestos, and you know you're crawling through these creepy basements or attics, and you know, and mostly it's just sitting around, it's waiting for something to happen. So there's a lot of patience involved.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, let's see. What is the scariest place you ever investigated, Chris?
The scariest place I've ever investigated. I'm trying to think. Well, no, Salem wasn't scary. Salem was awesome. Lizzie Borden wasn't the scariest, but it was definitely one of the most intense. I can't say I've ever been really scared. The only time I was ever scared, and it was really, really weird, was when we were at Hinsdale House, and myself and Catherine, one of our other team members, were upstairs. And we were just talking, and I honestly wasn't thinking about anything other than pie, because we went to McDonald's previously. You guys got extra apple pies, and all I could think of was I should have gotten an extra apple pie because, damn, it was really good. And while I was in the middle of thinking, wow, I really want apple pie, I got really, really scared, and so did Catherine. And all of a sudden we're like, okay, we need to go. And that was it. But the only other intense experience I had that I will never, ever, ever forget, and it was like magically intense, but it was crazy, creepy, magically intense. And I told this to Daniel Hoover last night. Linda, our other team member, and I were in the bedroom actually where Abby Borden was killed. That was the room we were staying in that night. So when I woke up in the morning, I woke up to a beautiful picture of Mrs. Borden's head and her congealed blood. You know, it's like, oh, good morning, Mrs. Borden. Okay, this is weird. So we're in the bedroom, and it was just her and I. They had done a tour. They were doing a tour for other people, and I know all about the Borden case, ins and outs of it, so I didn't want to go on the tour. So we're sitting there. We have our K2 meters. We have our MEL meters. We have a couple of things out and our recorders. And, I finally just said, what, Lizzie, between you and I said, and Linda, I said, with this girl's here, I said, I just want to know, did you truly take the life of your father and your stepmother? Because if you did, and before I could get the words, you could make these light up, our K2 meter, our MEL meter, and everything in the room went ballistic. Like, I didn't realize that the new meter he bought had like 5 alarms on it. And when I did that, and it was like somebody shoved us in ice cold water. Like my skin tightened and my hair fell off. It was weird. And so then I said, if that's a yes and that's you, can you make it stop? And it stopped. And then I said, okay. I said, if you took your father's life because he touched you inappropriately, can you let us know? And again, all the meters went ballistic. All the, the lights went off, and again, it got even colder. It was insane, like crazy. And so then we asked her, did you do it in this room? And again, everything went just ballistic. When it stopped was the moment when Denny walked in the door. It was like he had broken the spell. Like the room went back to normal, except our skin was ice cold. And all the meters and everything went quiet as soon as he walked into the room. It was the most chilling experience, one of the most chilling, probably number one on my list that I've ever had. And then that night, Denny, a lot of people don't know this, but an aunt went crazy on the Borden property and killed her twins. And that night, Denny heard laughing and children running up and down the stairs, and there were no children in the building. It was us and another couple, and that was it.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. But I will say this as a side note for anybody that goes there. While we were talking to the tour guys, before we went upstairs to even conduct the whole, EVP session, the guy turns to us and goes, oh, and if I'm interested, there's a Ouija board in the corner over there. And I was just like, hey, just out of curiosity, how many people have played with that Ouija board in this house? It was, almost everybody who comes through, tons of people. And I'm like, okay. And I just said to him, I'm like, you better hope and pray that she's the only axe murderer running around this house. And his face went pale white. It was pretty interesting.
Huh. Wow.
So,
that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you did ask me this when I did your radio show, so I have to ask you this. What is the funniest thing that happened to you on an investigation?
The funniest thing that I tell this story all over because it's completely true. Aside from me literally walking into walls because it's dark and I can't see anything, which I've done in almost every single investigation, thinking I'm going out a door, and I walk smack first into a wall. It never fails. It's probably when we were at Rolling Hills and we were in the morgue, and I opened up the freezer door just to look inside, and I didn't realize Sharon had a mannequin in there, and I screamed bloody murder to the point where a couple of other teams, because it was a public investigation, a couple of other teams came running down to make sure we were all okay. It scared the living daylights out of me. I was not prepared. I did not do well with dolls or mannequins. I don't. I think dolls are pretty as long as it's daytime and because they look normal. Once it's dark, especially in a haunted location, it's just wrong. And one of Sharon's rooms are just full of dolls, and I can't stay for long in there because I'm like, this might sound irrational, and I know it's dark, but I swear their eyes are moving as I move. I have to get out of this room.
The Palmyra Historical Museum has that room of dolls. That's pretty creepy.
I know. I feel bad we missed it, unfortunately, due to all the circumstances. But, I'm glad you warned me, though, so when we do go there again, that'll be a room I skip.
Okay, my next question, and the very last question, if someone's starting out in the field, or wants to start their own team, what advice could you give them?
That wants to start investigating?
Yes.
You know what? Be open. Be open. Don't take, again, this is no disrespect to anybody, do not take television shows for more than entertainment, because if you take them for everything you see, you're going to be really disappointed. Remember that we're here to help people, because there really are people out there who truly do need help, and be patient and be open and, don't get discouraged. And most importantly, if you do private residences, please do not say anything for the children. Make sure you evaluate the people in the household. Ask the same question 10 different times, because you're going to have to get 10 different answers. Really understand that psychology and the paranormal go hand in hand. Because if you don't take that seriously, you could cause more harm than good. Like, I understand people have adrenaline, they want to get in there, they want to investigate, they want to see if, something happens. But understand that you're dealing with people's lives, and you're going to impact them in one way or the other. And so you have to take that seriously. It's not a game. So that's my advice. Remember to take it seriously. It's not a game. And look at it from a psychological perspective, not so much paranormal, but a psychological perspective, and that's how you can handle the situation with your clients and what's best for them.
Right. And confidentiality is the key to private investigation. Do not
absolutely.
put your team magnets on your car to go to a private residential case. These families are.
Exactly.
These
don't
families.
put the sign on your car. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Do not wear
don't
your
put the sign on
team
your car. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Do not wear your team T-shirts. Just confidentiality and privacy is the most important thing when working with private residential cases, I would say.
Exactly, and we have a contract that our investigators have to sign. And I have a zero tolerance for breaching confidentiality. If I know you have, you're gone, because nobody wants their business. You don't want your business put out there, well, nobody else does, especially this. So I agree with you, absolutely, 100%.
Right. Okay, that's all the questions I have. Do you want to say anything else? I want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I absolutely had so much fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
I'll talk to you.
The Sisterhood of the Women of the Paranormal is an awesome show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be part of the network. I'm glad to be part of the network. Thank you, Tiff.
Thank you. We'll talk to you later, sweetie.
All right. Bye.
Bye.